The year is 1347, and a shadow stretches across the Mediterranean, a harbinger of unimaginable suffering. From the east, whispers carried on the wind spoke of a pestilence, a plague unlike any the world had known. The Genoese trading ships, laden with silks and spices, unknowingly carried death within their holds. First, Messina, Sicily, fell silent, its vibrant marketplace swallowed by a pall of fear. The rats, bloated and diseased, scurried through the alleys, their presence a silent, creeping doom. Bubonic plague arrived, marked by grotesque swellings, the buboes, a terrifying signature of the curse. The stench of sickness permeated the air, a cloying sweetness masking the rot and decay. Families huddled together in terror, their homes becoming tombs of despair. The Black Death, they named it, a macabre moniker for an unstoppable force. Doctors, masked and robed, struggled in vain against an enemy they could not comprehend. Prayer offered little solace, the churches echoed with the wails of the dying. The living were left to bury the dead, an endless cycle of grief and exhaustion. Pierside mass graves yawned, swallowing the victims with brutal indifference. Flagellants marched through the streets, whipping themselves as penance, desperate for divine mercy. Superstition bloomed in the darkness, fueled by fear and the absence of explanation. Jews were scapegoated, accused of poisoning wells and spreading the contagion. The fabric of society began to unravel as trust dissolved into paranoia. Fields lay fallow, harvests rotted as the hands that tended them were claimed by the pestilence. Trade ground to a halt, crippling economies and plunging cities into poverty. The death carts rumbled through the streets, a grim reminder of the constant toll. The bells tolled incessantly, each chime marking the passing of another soul. The air hung heavy with the unspoken fear of the inevitable. Some fled the cities, seeking refuge in the countryside, but found no escape. The dances of death appeared in art, a grim memento mori for a dying world. Nuns swore vows of silence, believing the plague was a punishment from God. Boccaccio's Decameron emerged as a chronicle of survival and human resilience. The stench of burning bodies filled the night, a horrifying spectacle. The sick were abandoned, left to die alone in their homes or on the streets. The wealthy hired gravediggers, desperate to dispose of the dead quickly and discreetly. Monks and friars, once beacons of hope, succumbed to the relentless disease. Children orphaned and abandoned, their futures stolen by the pestilence. The very notion of life seemed fragile, fleeting, and inconsequential. The Black Death crossed the English Channel, its reach extending across Europe. England's fields lay barren, its people decimated. France wept, its once proud cities reduced to graveyards. Germany faced the devastation, the land echoing with mournful cries. The 100 Years' War stalled, overshadowed by the greater horror. The social order was shaken, the old hierarchies crumbling under the weight of mortality. Serfs and nobles alike fell prey, proving that death recognized no distinction. The Black Death had no respect for lineage, power, or piety. The world witnessed unimaginable suffering, etched forever in memory. The number of dead were staggering, a biblical scale of destruction. Some sought explanations in astrology, believing the planets were aligned against humanity. Others blamed the alignment of Mars and Saturn, claiming they had unleashed the pestilence. The concept of miasma lingered, a belief that foul air caused disease. Quarantine became a desperate measure, cities sealing themselves off from the outside world. The fear of contagion led to paranoia and distrust among neighbors. Attempts at prevention were crude and ineffective, relying on herbs and charms. The air was thick with the smell of burning juniper and incense. The plague left a deep scar on the collective psyche, a wound that would never fully heal. The population of Europe was decimated, forever altering the course of history. The labor shortage led to social unrest and demands for higher wages. The surviving peasantry gained more power, challenging the established order. Art and literature reflected the darkness and despair of the times. The Black Death was not merely a disease, it was a catalyst for profound change. Years passed, but the memory of the plague lingered, a constant shadow in the minds of the living. The world rebuilt, slowly and painfully, but never quite the same. The shadow of the Black Death continues to remind us of humanity's fragility. A stark warning etched in history, even the most powerful civilizations can crumble. Remember the Black Death, a testament to